This is part one, titled The Trump Phenomenon. The brash real estate mogul Donald J. Trump has broken all the rules in running a presidential campaign. He is politically incorrect, speaks before he thinks, boasts about his wealth, and insults others, all while saying he will, quote, make America great again if elected president. Not surprisingly, his daring approach to presidential politics has resulted in numerous gaffes. He caused uproar when he gave his opinion of the U.S.-Mexican border when declaring for the presidency. Here he is in a short statement.
The U.S., it's true, and these are the best and the finest. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. But I speak to border guards, and they tell us what we're getting.
He also refused to call Arizona Senator and Vietnam POW John McCain a legitimate war hero by saying, quote, he's a war hero because he's captured. I like people that weren't captured. He insulted presidential candidate Carly Fiorina by saying, quote, look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? He reportedly mocked a disabled reporter over a disagreement about post-9/11 celebrations and also called for a temporary yet controversial ban on all Muslims entering the United States. However, the most recited statement by Donald Trump is his insistence to build a wall along the U.S.-Mexican border, as he says in this clip.
So, just to sum up, I would do various things very quickly. I would repeal and replace the big lie Obamacare. I would build a great wall, and nobody builds walls better than me, believe me. And I'll build them very inexpensively. I will build a great, great wall on our southern border, and I will have Mexico pay for that wall. Mark my words.
Trump's boldest policy ideas leave voters, politicians, and pundits in the media wondering how they can be achieved. His policy to deport an estimated 10 million undocumented immigrants in the United States would be unprecedented. His call to temporarily ban all Muslims from entering the United States is questionable, and his announcement that he would build a wall along the U.S.-Mexican border and have Mexico pay for it is inconceivable. Despite Trump's gaffes and brash statements, he soars in the GOP presidential polls and continues to dominate the Republican field of candidates. To explain the surge of Donald Trump, one must first examine those to whom he appeals. Mr. Trump is the alpha male of the Republican presidential candidates. He has tapped into a nerve of the GOP. His campaign speeches display passion, emotion, and anger, which appeal directly to those in the GOP who are fed up with the establishment politicians who they believe say one thing and do another while beholden to special interest. His self-funded campaign is a draw for many of his supporters since they believe he cannot be bought or persuaded contrary to his campaign promises. They believe his business background as a deal maker makes him the ideal candidate to break the deadlock that persists in the U.S. Congress. His assertion that the United States has the dumbest politicians only deepens his supporters' beliefs. His political incorrectness is embraced by his followers since he bluntly says what his supporters are thinking but are afraid to say. His fame and mastery of the social media only adds to his ambiance and has allowed his towering insults to have little effect on his presidential campaign. Many of Trump's supporters feel as if they actually know the real Donald Trump from his reality show or because of his Twitter feed. And the real Donald Trump is often smeared and taken out of context by his opponents or the liberal media. The loyalty of Trump's supporters was confirmed when he said he could, quote, stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and he wouldn't lose any voters. Donald Trump's appeal is unique. His near universal celebrity status and bold statements have allowed him to capture the GOP spotlight, and he continues to dominate the Republican field because he comes across as a strong leader who is brash, politically incorrect, and beholden to no one, not the political establishment or special interest. In a typical presidential election campaign, these characteristics or any one gaffe could be detrimental to any candidate. However, if your name is Donald J. Trump, they only make your poll numbers greater, at least in this election.